The Dyatlov Pass Incident remains one of the most chilling and mysterious events in history. It has baffled both amateur sleuths and professional investigators for decades. On February 2, 1959, 9 experienced hikers set off into the Ural Mountains in Russia for an expedition that would end in tragedy. But the questions surrounding their deaths have never been fully answered. What really happened to these hikers? And why does the mystery continue to haunt us more than 60 years later? In this video, we'll take a closer look at the Dyatlov Pass Incident, piecing together the available evidence and exploring the most popular theories about what really happened to these 9 hikers. From strange injuries to unexplained circumstances, we'll examine every detail as we try to uncover the truth behind one of the most perplexing unsolved mysteries in modern history: the hikers. Before we dive into the details of the incident itself, let's first understand who these hikers were. The group was led by Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student at the Ural Polytechnic Institute in Sverdlovsk, now Yeto. He was an experienced hiker, having already completed several challenging expeditions in the past. The group consisted of 7 men and 2 women, all students or graduates of the Ural Polytechnic Institute, and they were all experienced hikers and skiers. The hikers, ranging in age from 20 to 24, had set out on a skiing expedition to reach Ural Mountain, which was located north of the Ural Mountains. The goal was to reach a remote area known for its challenging terrain and snow-covered landscape. The group was well prepared, with extensive training, proper gear, and experience in navigating harsh conditions. The journey, which had begun in late January, was supposed to last for about 2 weeks. However, on February 1st, the group's last contact with the outside world was made when they sent a telegram from a nearby settlement. The message was short, but suggested that the group was doing well and expected to be back in a few days. That would be the last time anyone would hear from them. The discovery of the tent. The first signs of something going wrong came when the hikers missed their scheduled return date on February 12th. Concerned, the families of the hikers contacted authorities, and a search mission was launched. The searchers eventually found the hikers' abandoned tent at the base of a mountain called Kolatsiakal, which translates to Dead Mountain in the local Mansi language. What the searchers found inside the tent was perplexing and raised immediate questions about what had happened. The tent was slashed open from the inside, as if the hikers had been in a hurry to escape. This was strange because the group had all their equipment and belongings neatly packed inside, but the way the tent had been damaged suggested that something terrifying had caused them to flee quickly. The hikers' boots, coats, and other warm clothing were left behind, suggesting they had not planned on leaving the tent. In freezing temperatures, this was an odd and alarming sign. Furthermore, the group's personal belongings and cameras were also found inside, undisturbed. Outside the tent, the searchers discovered the footprints of the hikers. Strangely, the footprints led away from the tent and toward the forest, where the bodies would eventually be discovered. But the strange part was that the hikers were barefoot or only wearing socks, despite the freezing cold conditions. They had clearly left the tent in a panic, but why? The discovery of the bodies. The bodies of the hikers were found scattered across a large area, some of them in strange positions. The first body was discovered about 500 meters from the tent, while others were found further away, with some even located near the edge of a ravine. The state of the bodies was disturbing, with several showing signs of severe trauma. 3 of the hikers had broken ribs, and 1 had a fractured skull. But it wasn't just the injuries that raised eyebrows. Some of the injuries seemed impossible to explain. One of the hikers had his eyes and tongue removed, while another had a missing eyebrow. Even more unsettling was the fact that some of the hikers were found without their clothes, their bodies exposed to the elements as if they had been trying to escape something. But the injuries weren't the only thing that puzzled investigators. Some of the bodies showed signs of radiation contamination. This led to speculation that the hikers had encountered something radioactive, or that they had been exposed to some form of military military experimentation. However, there was no conclusive evidence linking the hikers to any radiation sources. Possible theories. Over the years, many theories have been put forward to explain what happened to the hikers. Let's look at the most popular ones. Avalanche theory. One of the most widely accepted theories is that an avalanche occurred, causing the hikers to flee the tent in a panic. The idea is that an avalanche might have been triggered by the weight of snow, causing the hikers to fear for their lives. They may have cut their way out of the tent in an attempt to escape, and in the chaos, they might have ended up with serious injuries as they fled the area. While this theory could explain the panic and the injuries, it doesn't account for the strange injuries on some of the hikers' bodies, like the missing eyes and tongue, or the radiation found on their clothes. Additionally, an avalanche would likely have left more evidence of debris around the site, which was not the case. Yeti or wild animal attack. Another theory suggests that the hikers were attacked by a wild animal, such as a bear, or perhaps even a Yeti-like creature. This idea was fueled by the extreme and unexplained injuries found on the hikers. However, no tracks or other evidence of such an attack were found near the campsite, and no animals were seen in the area. Military or secret testing. Some believe that the hikers may have stumbled upon a secret military operation, possibly involving weapons testing or other experiments. The theory suggests that the hikers' deaths could have been a result of exposure to radiation or some other secretive weapon. This theory has been fueled by the discovery of radiation on the hikers' clothes and the strange injuries on their bodies. The Soviet Union was known to conduct secret military tests during this time, which has led to further speculation about a cover-up. However, there is no direct evidence to support the idea that the hikers were involved in or affected by any secret military activities. Paradoxical undressing. Another theory is the idea of paradoxical undressing, a phenomenon in which people in extreme hypothermic conditions may feel an intense sensation of heat, causing them to remove their clothes despite the freezing temperatures. This could explain why some of the hikers were found naked or partially undressed. However, this theory doesn't account for the other unusual injuries found on the bodies. A mysterious force or phenomenon. The final theory is that the hikers experienced something so terrifying and inexplicable that it led them to flee the tent in panic, ultimately resulting in their deaths. Some suggest that they may have encountered a strange force or phenomenon that caused them to act irrationally, even tearing open the tent from the inside. While this idea might sound far-fetched, it's important to consider that we don't know everything about the world we live in, and there could be factors at play that we don't yet understand. So, what really happened to the hikers at Dyatlov Pass? After more than 60 years, the mystery remains unsolved. The injuries, the panic, and the strange circumstances surrounding their deaths continue to baffle investigators and armchair detectives alike. Whether it was an avalanche, a military experiment, or something else entirely, the truth is still out there, waiting to be uncovered. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.